Please welcome Dr. Anne-Marie Imafidon.
Joining me in the studio is Dr. Anne-Marie Imafidon.
Put your hands together for Anne-Marie Imafidon.
I've always been interested in technology and maths, and for me it's something that's always very creative, but also incredibly logical. You're relying on their infrastructure quite a lot. So for you, what is the definition, or what should the definition of a bank be going forward?
Please welcome to the stage your host for this evening, Dr. Anne-Marie Imafidon.
Hi Savoy, can I get a whoop whoop? Whoop whoop, welcome to the 2023 IET Young Women Engineer of the Year Awards. Another whoop whoop. We've clapped a lot already. I want to keep your hands safe, I guess, for our award winners later on. Thank you very, very, very much for braving the cold, the rain, the train strikes, and all of those things happening outside and being able to join us here in the room at the IET in London. And also a big shout out to those of you who have tuned in online at home as well. It's a great pleasure to be here with you all to celebrate, to recognise and to soak and bask in the achievements of some outstanding women engineers. Now, this evening, we're going to get to know all of our fantastic finalists and find out how they are making a difference in the world and learn a little bit about the legacy of them too. We are going to also hear from our brilliant guest speaker, Anne Locker, and have a little bit of a catch-up with last year's Young Women Engineer of the Year, Dr. Amma Frimpong, who joins us here at the front. There we go. I believe she's had a very busy year since winning, so brace yourselves, finalists. This is going to be a year and a half coming up. Now, before we begin and announce this year's 4 award winners, can I please ask you all, if you are associated, still logged in, to get involved on X, formerly known as Twitter, using the hashtag which is here. IETYWE, capitals at the beginning for a little bit of sparkle, sparkle. We can't wait to see all of your pictures, videos, and posts throughout the night of my fantastic jumpsuit, but also all the outfits that we have coming up. I didn't put this on for no reason. Now, I'm really, really excited to be back on this stage. I don't know if any of you were here a couple of years ago with Carol Vorderman, and I was speaking and sharing my journey, but even more so excited because this has been our 10th year anniversary of STEMets. And as you'll have heard and seen there in the sting, if any of you have known me and have heard of me before, STEMets is a really big part of my legacy, my journey, and what I've been working on. And so 10 years and this building come together in quite a big way. But if we rewind just a little bit, if you can, with me, I think it's always nice to kind of start at the beginning of stories, and even more so, because I'm not technically an engineer, I'm a technologist. Although the T here, I think, stands for technology, so I do belong here tonight. But for me, my journey started in probably a very similar way to many of you in the room. And if you've seen me before, you'll have seen 4-year-old Anne-Marie. Please cast your minds back. Some of you will know 4-year-olds. Some of you may even have 4-year-olds. Some of you may remember being 4 years old. But one of my earliest memories, I always love to share with folks, is that of our VCR player that we had at home. Now, we had 2 TVs when I was growing up. I don't know why. Haven't quite asked my dad yet why. But he would watch one, I would watch another, me and my siblings, and we'd have a VCR player kind of stacked on top of it. Any of you remember VCR players? I'm looking round. I don't believe you. We used to have them before you had DVDs, before you had Blu-ray, before you had Netflix. And we'd have stacks and stacks and stacks of them, so-and-so's wedding or Lion King, and you'd kind of take this cassette tape in and you'd push it in, and even though just Simba and Nala were on the sticker, Timon and Pumbaa would also be part of the show that you'd see on the TV. And I remember being fascinated. Where did they come from? How did it know? So I went about looking for answers, as you would do when you're curious as a young person, and took apart the VHS tape looking for Timon and Pumbaa. With my human naked eye, I didn't see what I was looking for, so I went to go and take apart the VHS player. which I'd like to tell that story again and again, because then I can also thank my dad for not killing me. Because now that I'm older and own my own devices, I know how much they mean to me, and someone just taking it apart to look for Timon and Pumbaa really wouldn't cut it. But that curiosity is something that was nurtured in me, and something that I know we're definitely going to see across the stories of the finalists that we have. But it's a big reason why I run STEMettes now. The idea of being able to nurture that curiosity and explore it, and also maybe solve problems along the way. There's a lot that I learned in trying to put back together that VHS player, although I didn't do it successfully. There's so much that we're able to see and unpick, and so many exciting things that happen as a result of exploring that curiosity. You're going to hear so many stories this evening, but in my work at STEMettes, there's so many fantastic people that we get to meet, and we get to see where their curiosity has taken them. Now, as the person that I am, I think the thing that excites me the most is the different doors that have been opened as a result of the curiosity that I seemingly had in the right field, right, across this STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. And I always love to kind of reflect on this. I feel like we also don't reflect on things often enough, the successes that we have, the wins, the things that we have to be thankful for. But I think it's always nice to kind of reflect on the random places that I've ended up in. Not any of them that I would have imagined or would have guessed as I was being the pen doctor in my primary school. Anyone else did that? Took your pens apart? You knew how they worked, so you can put them back together again. Yeah, you're nodding. We're at the IUT. That's what we do, right? We have professional pen doctors here this evening. But there's so many things I've ended up doing, whether it's having a podcast with the Evening Standard, whether it's having a book, which I believe all of you have in your hands, which is really, really exciting. Thank you very much. I didn't have that on my vision board. It wasn't something I imagined would happen, nor would me standing in on Countdown to do 60-odd episodes while Rachel Riley was on maternity leave. Anyone that saw me on Countdown? No, good. Oh, I'm judging you that did. It was on at 2:10 in the afternoon every day. You're all professional engineers. I know there's lots of things you should have been doing. So many different places that I've ended up being in. I think that's the magic and that's the excitement, actually, of being an engineer, especially in today's world, right? So much of what we're building and creating, as was with our forefathers and foremothers, is shaping life as we know it. There's so much that we imagine, that we dream, that we're curious about, that becomes real. So I wanted to leave you with one final story before we head on and do what we're actually supposed to be doing this evening. And that's that of Knight Rider, which, again, from the 1980s. A couple of you don't look, none of you look old enough to remember the 1980s. I don't remember the 1980s, but I've heard there was a show called Knight Rider. And there was a guy called Michael, played by David Hasselhoff, which many of us would be familiar with, who had a car called Kit. And he talked to Kit, right, which in the 1980s was the most bizarre thing that you could imagine someone doing, talking to an inanimate object. Right? I could talk to this if I really wanted to, but you'd judge me maybe just a little bit. Now, in the 1980s, he spoke to Kit in this sci-fi show. It wasn't real life at that point. And they were able to successfully fight crime together, because he wasn't just talking to the car was understanding him, it was processing, and they were able to do that and create more safety, right? Solve crimes, whatever it was that happened in Knight Rider. And I think it's always a fascinating one to reflect on, again, that in the 1980s, that was such a science fiction, such a weird thing to do. These days, we talk to inanimate objects all the time. You know, for those of you at home, I'm going to use Alexa to order some loo roll now and cause a little bit of mischief. But it's funny that that was an imagination, that was science fiction that's now become science reality because of people like you, right, who go and pursue that curiosity, who explore, who dream, who imagine, and make the unimaginable, make even sometimes the weird, reality. And I think that's something for us all to be really proud of. But in the legacy of the finalists and the different stories that we're going to hear today, I think being able to inspire more of that for the problems that really matter is the reason why I get up every day. Right? There's so many problems, so many things to be solved, so many places for us to use our engineering mindsets, our STEM knowledge, art and design, and bring all of that to bear to solve so many of the problems that we know exist already in the world. Why can't we make sure that we've got all manner of folks helping to solve those problems as part of our workforces, joining us as engineers and building a future that we can all be proud of, building a future that is safer, building a future that is more fun, building a future that is just as glamorous if not more, as it is today. So thank you very much to all of you for allowing me to be your host this evening. I'm really, really excited to be meeting our finalists and learning a couple more stories of those legacy and maybe getting to see actually some of the people that are going to build the more weird things, maybe, that we might be imagining at the moment. So it's now time to present our very first award of the evening, which is the Gender Diversity Ambassador Award. And to tell us about this award and our nominees, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to El Presidente, my president, the Deputy IET President, Dawn Olsen.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Good evening, everyone. As IET Deputy President, it's my pleasure to be here with you all at this prestigious event to recognise and celebrate the work of some truly talented young women engineers. Engineering is in absolutely everything that we do. It's a fantastic profession that can be life or even world-changing, and we want more young people to see and appreciate that. We are very proud to celebrate women in modern engineering, changing perceptions of our profession and raising the profile of engineers among young people, parents, teachers, the media and government. Tonight, I'm here to celebrate and announce our Gender Diversity Ambassador Award winner. This award is a Lifetime Achievement Award that is presented to a true role model who has championed gender diversity over many years. They greatly contribute to breaking down barriers and implement various policies and strategies to help attract and retain women in engineering. But before we announce our winner, let's learn a little more about the nominees.
Evie has always been at the forefront. She's always looking for new opportunities, new ideas. We've been able to instill that agenda right across both our university, the wider community, and obviously how we support individuals internationally. She really is a great advocate for equality, diversity and inclusion.
Evie provides a pastoral as well as academic care towards her students. She has been a role model for many STEM females. She goes out of her way to organise events that are inclusive for the students. The students really love her. She cares, she's got warmth and empathy, and that comes across, and it's natural, it's genuine, it's not put on.
She showed real, genuine interest in the challenges that are related to equality, diversity and inclusion. She's got the energy, the drive and the real passion behind her ideas around circular economy, but more specifically equality, diversity and inclusion.
It's not just gender diversity the solution, I think it's intersectional diversity. Once we start understanding other people's perspective and we say the more diverse you are, the stronger we are. That's what makes us survive.
Adrian has pushed mentorship schemes such as the AFB and the Royal Academy to allow us to improve what we do. These schemes are really quite useful at getting people from various backgrounds involved in all of these engineering roles and pushing people from diverse backgrounds into these fields where there is underrepresentation.
It's absolutely fantastic having Adrienne as a visiting professor here at the School of Engineering and supporting them in the softer skills and understanding what business requires from those students. She also brings into that the quality, diversity and inclusivity aspects for the students to help them in understanding sort of how they sort of fit into those roles in industry and how they should actually communicate and interact with other students, and really giving them the confidence to be able to go and do that and have success in their career. It's really great that she's here.
She is a fantastic role model for young women in STEM, engineering, computer science and beyond. She does so much philanthropic work, mentoring, coaching. She goes into schools, she goes to universities, she's a visiting professor. There's almost nothing Adrienne will say no to in terms of supporting young people and the future generations coming into a STEM career.
It is imperative that we address gender diversity holistically, not just in segments, because we need to make sure that everyone within industry feels safe and heard.
Thank you. So I am delighted to announce the Gender Diversity Ambassador Award goes to Adrienne Houston.
I didn't prepare a speech because I didn't think I would be here today. So thank you, IET. Thank you to everyone who worked with me and supported me on my journey. And thank you all the young people who have trust in me and they listen to me. So I love what I do and I couldn't imagine a better profession than being an engineer. So thanks again, IET, for recognizing all my hard work and efforts in this field.
I'm sure you'll agree, a very deserving winner. A huge congratulations, Adrienne. Now, this year, the judges found the standard of entries for this award to be so high that for the first time, they have awarded a highly commended Gender Diversity Award, which goes to Evie. So, a huge congratulations, Evie, and please join us after the ceremony. Fabulous. And now I would like to invite Anne Locker from the IET Library and Archives team to give us a short herstory of engineering. Now, Anne is the Library and Archives Manager here at the IET. She has worked with engineering archives for over 20 years and is focused on telling the stories of engineers and engineering and the importance of these stories to the making of the modern world. Everybody, please put your hands together for Anne Locker.
Good evening, everyone. So we're here tonight to celebrate your achievements and the extraordinary things that you've done and how you'll continue to make a difference in the world. Now, let's see if I can make this work. Hey, all right. Right. It should come as no surprise that women have always been involved in using their knowledge and skills to solve problems and improve people's lives. So this evening, I'd like to walk you through a brief history or herstory of engineering to show what it was like for the women whose achievements we continue to build on today. I'm going to tell you the stories of 3 women who came from very different backgrounds and took different paths to achieve success. And these 3 women are Hertha Ayrton, Margaret Partridge, and Miriam Mwanga. Hertha Ayrton was born in Portsea in 1854. Her father, Levi Marks, was a watchmaker who'd emigrated from Poland to the UK, but he died when she was 7 years old, and she was brought up by her mother, Alice. Now, Alice determined that her girls should not suffer from a lack of education, which she felt they needed more than boys. So Hertha was sent to an aunt's school in London, where she met many of the leading intellectuals of the day, including Barbara Bodichon, who was the founder of Girton College, Cambridge, and the novelist George Eliot. Thanks to financial support from her friends, Hertha went to Girton to study mathematics, where she joined the volunteer fire service and developed her first invention, a blood pressure meter. On leaving Girton, Hertha taught mathematics and took in sewing to make extra money. She continued her scientific education by attending Finsbury Technical College, which is now part of City and Guilds, where she studied electrical engineering with Professor William Ayrton. She and William married, and he encouraged her in her scientific research. Now, Hertha made her name with her experiments on the electric arc. This was an early form of electric lighting, using the spark that's formed between two carbon rods, but it was prone to inefficiency and failure. Through meticulous observation and experiment, Hertha demonstrated that changes in the shape of the carbon rods as the lights were operated caused the arc to stutter and to hiss. And her paper, The Hissing of the Electric Arc, won her membership to the Institution of Electrical Engineers, now the IET, as its first woman member in 1899. Hertha would continue her work even through starting a family and caring for her husband, who died in 1908, thanks to a legacy from her mentor Barbara Bodichon. She was the first woman to be awarded the Hughes Medal from the Royal Society, and she developed a fan for expelling poison gas in the First World War. Hertha became a leading figure in the suffrage movement. She befriended and supported the scientist Marie Curie, and she inspired her own daughter, who she named Barbara, to become an MP. Now, Hertha died in 1923, shortly after our next engineer joined the IEE and established her first company. Margaret Partridge, here we are, was born in Devon in 1891. Like Hertha, her family supported their daughter's education, and she too studied mathematics at Bedford College, London, and we also know that her sister was a medical student. Now, after graduating, Margaret went into teaching, which was an established career for women graduates, but she wasn't content, so she moved to an engineering firm in 1915, working as an assistant, and in 1917 moved to the firm Arthur Lyon and Wrench. Now, this was a really unusual career path. Engineering companies at this time employed very few women in technical roles, but it was also wartime, and there was a shortage of skilled workers. So Margaret joined her fellow women who were able to take on non-traditional roles at this time, and she went through an engineering apprenticeship and ended up as a supervisor. At the end of the war, most women working in factories were forced to give up their jobs. This prompted the formation of a Women's Engineering Society in 1919, which Margaret soon joined. As well as this national pressure, Margaret's family needed her to return to Devon. But rather than taking another teaching post, Margaret decided to set up her own engineering company. She started by selling domestic electrical equipment, and she wired country houses for the newfangled service of electricity. And we can see an advert for her company here. Now, at this time, very few houses, especially in rural areas, would have had an electricity supply. This was years before the formation of the national grid, and outside cities and larger towns, the infrastructure simply wasn't there. But if you were a forward-looking small town, you'd ask a contractor to help you set up a local supply system, and hope that your denizens were equally keen, or at least keen enough to pay for it. Now, Margaret worked on several town and village schemes in Devon and Suffolk. She wrote and spoke on rural electricity, the challenges of running a small business, and the advantages of using electricity in the home to make women's lives easier and better. She also mentored young women coming into the profession. One budding engineer she took on as an apprentice, as a school leaver, went on to study engineering at Manchester and worked on the Merlin engine in the Second World War. This was the aeronautical engineer, Beatrice Schilling. Margaret had plenty of help from her friends, including the pioneering campaigner for women in engineering, Dame Caroline Haslett. And she died in 1967, the same year that a young Ugandan engineering student called Miriam Mwanga was awarded a scholarship from the Caroline Haslett Memorial Trust to attend an international conference for women engineers and scientists held in Cambridge, ICWES. Now, Miriam Mwanga came to the UK to study engineering in Manchester, where she gained a higher national certificate, and she worked with the engineering company AEI as an apprentice. Although there was an established link between the UK universities and students from the Commonwealth, Miriam was unusual as a female student of engineering. Now, several of her fellow international delegates at the ICRES conference had come to the UK on scholarships, but these were usually for sciences, so physics or for medicine. So, for example, the Nigerian geophysicist Eben Oni, who spoke at the ICRES conference, said that she wanted to study engineering, but she could only get a government grant for physics, and so she chose that as a career. We don't know yet, this is an area for future research, how Miriam funded her studies. We do know she applied for a scholarship to attend ICRES and succeeded. Miriam returned to Uganda in 1968 to work for the Ugandan Electricity Board and continued to contribute to the Women's Engineering Society Journal. Now married and writing as Miriam Sebagala, Miriam was busy establishing her career at the Electricity Board and was also getting involved in developing the engineering profession in Uganda. She was the co-founder of the Institution of Engineering Technicians, and she set up an organisation for women to promote the use of electricity in the home. Sadly, Miriam died in a car crash in 1975, and her obituary read that Uganda has lost its first woman engineer, and that Miriam had a great desire to give herself to help others, and especially to help her country and her people. To this end, she chose engineering. So what can we learn from the stories of these amazing women? We could talk about the importance of education, of determination, of connection, and of mutual support. But I wonder what they would have made of this event tonight. Well, none of these women stopped at their first successes. Hertha got curious about sand ripples while on a family holiday, which led to her work on vortices and her medal from the Royal Society. Margaret, after retiring from her engineering company, got together a group of inexperienced and completely unqualified Women's Institute members to wire her local village hall and got to turn the lights on for a last project. Miriam, after getting her first professional job with the Uganda Electricity Board, set up an organisation to improve the everyday lives of women nationwide. So I think if these women were here this evening, they would be really proud. They would be saying, well done, but they would also say, what next? Thank you very much, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much, Anne. So many lessons to learn from her story. I think it's lovely to know that you're not the first, actually, stepping into this. You're not the first woman engineer ever, but also have good friends. I don't know who here would have had their friends fund their degree or their studies. I need to get better friends, don't I, Mamta? Right, so it's time to meet our nominees for the Mary George Memorial Prize for Apprentices. Now, this prize was inaugurated in 1985 and is awarded to an outstanding woman engineering apprentice who has made a significant contribution within the workplace and has a passion for inspiring others.
I grew up in Huntly. It's a small town in the northeast of Scotland in Aberdeenshire. Huntly is quite a small community. Everyone knows everyone. You most certainly always have someone you can call on and they will be around to help you, or you can go and help them. Growing up, I didn't specifically know of any engineers or engineering companies within Huntly at all. One of my teachers was actually the local rep for the Arkwright Engineering Scholarship Scheme. That was a pivotal moment in my school career where I realised that there were opportunities out there for females in engineering. And once I gained the scholarship, it gave me more confidence that I did have what it took to be an engineer. For the last 4 years, I've been a graduate apprentice civil engineer at AME, so that involved working full-time but also studying as well. Over the past 4 years, I've been able to build up my experience and skills to a level where I can now take the lead designer role and take more responsibility for the deliverables and projects. Living in a small community myself allows me to understand where people are coming from. If one road or bridge is shut, then that can mean hours and miles of delays. I've been able to stay in the community that I've grown up in Huntly, study in Aberdeen locally, and also work for Amy, who are all across Scotland. I can have kind of the best of both worlds. Gender and location should not be a barrier to a career in STEM.
The decarbonisation of the energy sector is one of the biggest challenges which the UK is facing. Engineers have a really vital role for solving that challenge. My work as a substation engineer involves carrying out maintenances on substation assets. It's really vital that we maintain our assets on substations because it ensures that everything runs smoothly and that we don't have any faults, and that ensures that the UK's electricity supply remains stable and reliable. We're in a really quite a transitional stage in the energy sector, and we're seeing a lot more renewable generation come onto the system, and we're seeing a lot more sort of technologies arise. So it's a really exciting time to be an engineer in the energy sector because we're really getting to work with these new technologies for the first time and get involved in these new projects. So yeah, it's really exciting. I feel quite excited about my future career as an engineer. Because there's so much change going on, it's really exciting to know that my sort of career path is going to be forever changing really as we get these new technologies. And I think knowing that you're working towards tackling climate change, that's a pretty big sort of motivating factor to come into work every day. That sort of keeps the job really interesting. As in a lot of engineering sectors, it is a very male-dominated industry, but my experience has been really positive. I've had loads of support from the engineers that I work alongside with, and they've really sort of helped me with my training throughout my apprenticeship. So I definitely say to any young girls who might feel a bit perhaps intimidated by the thought of being in such a male-dominated industry, that it's really not something to worry about. It's not something to let stop you, and we need more girls to consider careers in engineering so that we can shift that imbalance.
What a fantastic pair. You're both my winners, if I could choose. Now, I'm delighted to announce that I have the winning name in this golden envelope of the 2023 Mary George Memorial Prize. And it goes to, drumroll please, Jade Kimpton, National Grid.
I didn't prepare anything because I wasn't expecting to win. But it's been such an honour to be alongside such great other women. And hopefully this will encourage more girls to consider careers in not only the energy sector, but also through the apprenticeship route. So yeah, I'm delighted. Thank you.
Spoken like a true stateswoman as well, right? Brilliant. We're all going to go and sign up and be apprentices now. Well done, Jade. So now it's time to meet our remaining finalists, starting with Christina Pearson Rampiare. Roll VT.
Employers often view motherhood as a liability, fearing it might lead to time off, lack of commitment, or a decrease in productivity. It's time that we break down that stereotype. Imagine a world where motherhood doesn't hinder your career, but propels it forward. That's the story I'm here to share, the tale of how becoming a mother became my greatest source of empowerment in the workplace. In a world where women are underrepresented in senior engineering roles, especially those from diverse backgrounds, it's not easy breaking barriers, but I was determined not to let society hold me back. I was 30 years old when I had my first child, and it was really tough returning to work after maternity leave. But it was when I gained my self-belief and discovered my hidden potential. In my 9 years at BAE Systems, I've worked on cutting-edge projects, solving problems, and influencing the future of flight. Now I've taken on the challenge of the maritime sector. I now work within hydrostatic systems, leading a team, designing, developing and supporting control systems for future submarine programs. My mission is clear: to lead with technical excellence, break boundaries, and continue to inspire the next generation of engineers and prove that you can achieve anything, no matter where life takes you.
Such an important message there. Thank you, Christina, and congratulations on the baby is here now. So I think we saw the baby kind of hovering around. So congratulations, baby, as well, for making mum fantastic too. Now it's time to meet our second finalist, Titi Olide. Play VT.
Growing up in Nigeria, one of my favorite memories was watching my mom cook. It was always so fascinating to me to see how cooking an egg in different ways would bring about different consistencies. And so that made me curious as to the process by which raw materials became finished products. Put simply, chemical engineering is the process of transforming raw materials into finished products. And when my research led me into that understanding of what chemical engineering entailed, I realized that is actually what my mom was doing within the cooking process. As a safety engineer, I'm working on the world's first high-pressure, ultra-efficient electrolyzer technology at Supercritical Solutions, identifying those hazards through the different stages from design through to commissioning and operation of the plant. I get to ask the challenging questions about what could go wrong. We need to do that in order to be able to understand the hazards associated with the design of the technology, as well as ensuring that when these hazards are identified, we mitigate them and control them so that everyone goes home safe, our assets are safe, and the environment is safe as well. Climate change is a global challenge. We need diverse minds working on impactful solutions to ensure a safe and sustainable energy transition. I'm so grateful for the guidance and support I've received to pursue my engineering career. But it's crucial to recognize that not everyone is as fortunate. And this is why I'm passionate about inspiring the next generation to consider a career in engineering.
What inspiring work from you, Titi. The next generation are so lucky, right, to have all of us here. Now, before we play the next videos and meet the two remaining finalists, I think we should take a pause and hear from last year's winner, Dr. Amma Frimpong. Let's see what she's been up to since winning the award. Now, Amma is a medical engineer who's currently head of product development at 52 North Health Limited. She's a multi-award winner, including YWE 2022 and WES Top 50 Women in Engineering 2020. Big year 2022 for you, right, Amma? She is invested in advancing global health outcomes through innovative solutions and increasing numbers and retention of young girls and women and those from the global ethnic majority in the engineering industry. Everybody, please put your hands together for the 2022 Young Women Engineer of the Year, Dr. Amma Frimpong.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me. It's Laura will tell you it's a miracle that I'm here. We've been hoping that somebody does not decide to come too early. So it is a real pleasure that I'm able to come back and see you all, but see the finalists, hear your stories, but also tell you what my last year has been like. It's been a real whirlwind, to say the least. It's been incredible though, but before I tell you about it, I'm gonna just say some thank yous because it really does take a village, and part of that village is my family. My family is in the crowd somewhere, my husband, my little human, my mum, my aunt, and these are the people that support me through it all, you know. I always, whenever I think about how far I've come, I realize that I couldn't have done it without them. But over the last year, one of the things that I talk about is also having a professional family, and that's what the IET has been to me. I mean, there's so many people that have supported me across this year, but A few names: Laura, Daisy, Rebecca, Sophie, Helen, all of you, thank you. I couldn't have done it. The number of messages, what are we doing next? Tell me what to do. But it's been a really incredible year. It's been a year of growth for me, and not just for what I can give to other people, but I think to be able to give into others or to put into others, I've had to put into myself. And that's what that support network and everybody around me has been to me. So this is where it all started. This was before we came and sat down and tried to be, very comport ourselves. It was a really good year, and these girls, these ladies, these young women have been through it all with us. We've done it the years and the months after being announced finalist, all the way through to the night when you get given the award. And you might have remembered some tears from somebody. Shall not mention names. But those tears, when I think back on it, I wasn't going to, I thought I'd never mention it again because, we sweep that under the rug. But it was overwhelming in a way that it was because I realized how far I'd come, but also the challenges that I'd gone through to get to that point. And I never thought I'd get to that point where somebody else, but not just anybody, the IET would recognize me and say, you are the Young Woman Engineer of the Year. That was big. I never thought I'd get there. And there is a lesson in there that I'd like to share with you as I go through. They tell you about the first couple of hours and the first couple of days and weeks, and this is for you finalists. It's going to be incredibly busy. There's going to be lots of calls and radios and interviews, people wanting to hear about you because you are fabulous. This is why you are finalists. My story started at 6 a.m. the morning after, had a couple of calls, radio, interviews, all sorts of things. And then another one that said, can you come to BBC Studios in central London? It's like, oh, yeah, sure, I can. So I'm having to look through my stuff, find some clothes to go look okay when I get to BBC. But it was BBC focused on Africa, and I'm from Ghana. So my family is still there, so I'm randomly calling them, please tune in, I'm going to say some stuff about engineering, it's really cool. But that is how it all started. But quickly after all of that, I realized that amid all the interviews, the podcast, everything that everybody wanted to hear from me, I needed to find direction. I needed to know what was important for me. What did I want to do with my year? What did I want to give to the engineering community? What was that legacy that I thought I wanted to leave behind? And that's one that helps to give direction. For me, that was my beacon, if you want, that I always focused on. I had 3 things that I wanted to focus on through my year, and they all quite align with, 2 of them align very much with the Young Woman Engineer Award, which is getting young girls to take up engineering and STEM. The other, and it started in this room, actually just outside this room, just after we'd been announced winners, I was walking around, talking to people, meeting everybody, and somebody had come up to me and told me about their journey through university, and they weren't really sure if they were going to continue. And that really struck me because, we want to bring people in, but we don't want to lose them. We want to retain them. That's how they become engineers and become part of that percentage that we're wanting to go up. So in addition to wanting young girls to pursue STEM, I also wanted to help those who have already chosen to do something in the STEM field stay in. So I spent a lot of my year split between doing schools, but also young professionals, young engineers, young career, people already in university. Sorry. So these are a couple of pictures behind me. I've had the most incredible year. I think on count, I probably did 2 or 3 events a month over the last 12 months, which alongside having little human, who is over there somewhere, shall not look, but in addition to having a job, but also this is why the Young Women Engineer Awards are so important. We want to put ourselves out there. We want to tell our story. We want to show people that we are just like them. We've come from those same backgrounds, and we've made it. And so there was a lot of work. One of my favorite things from this last year was Moon United. And it was, for me, as a sci-fi human child, I've been watching and wanting to go to space forever. If you know how, please tell me, I shall go. But this was so incredible. It was so fantastic to get them to think outside the box, to design football kits for playing football on the moon. I mean, that is as far as Knight Rider. I grew up on Knight Rider, by the way. My dad had all the VH. It's so true. A-Team and Knight Rider. But going to the moon was so exciting for me. I thought that it was one of those things that really opens up their minds. But this is how you get young people to get excited. And I was very invested in it. And I mean, the kits that they came up with were so great. And actually, one of those things about getting young people to explore their innovation, their creativity, led me down. The last thing that I'll talk about in terms of looking at young people was setting up a foundation myself, because I started to think about what was missing, what could I do as well, and found a little bit of a gap in the 3D technology space. And so we came up with a little foundation called the Invent Foundation that is looking at young people and trying to expose them more to 3D technology skills. We do a lot of build and make, but the things like visual design on computers, digital imaging, all of that is not getting as much. And we know DT is dying, so we need to diversify how we get them involved in that. So that's one of the things that we've been doing over the last few months. And then when we look at young people who have already chosen to do science, already chosen to be in the tech field, and System are here, the pictures first. We'll go back one. I did a lot of stuff talking to young people. You know, early career engineers have different experiences, and it's worthwhile recognizing that, because there are people who are making it. Jade, I love that the people around you support you so much. You know, that is stories that we want to tell those who aren't getting that support. And that's what sometimes we find, that not everybody is getting that support, or they are just navigating a career they're not so sure about. I think I need to get that one to play one last, if AV can help me. But there's a video with that one that they can help play. But it is that I spend the rest of my time doing, those young people. And the third thing was medical engineering. Anne-Marie mentioned that I am a medical engineer, and that is one that I have realized over the last few years that does not get talked about enough. People know roughly what medical engineering is, but they don't really know what medical engineering is. And so for me, as somebody in the field, I'm surrounded by people that talk about it all the time. So you tend to think that in the engineering world, that is known. But actually, outside of that, that isn't so known. And I work mostly in medical devices, leading, you know, front-end innovation of new technologies that can change people's lives. And I want to talk about that. I want to get more people to come and join us in that field, because we are using all the skills that other engineers are using, mechanical, electronics, robotics, all of that comes together to work in the field of medical engineering. And so I spent a lot of time going around talking to people, and having been somebody who'd come out of industry, academia into industry, talking to people who wanted to be able to do that. It's been a real learning for me over the last few years, over the last few months, trying to understand how I can give of myself to others, but in a way that enriches their journeys. And two things that I will leave with you guys is, one is, don't feel like you have to meet anybody else's criteria. Those tears that I had on this stage was probably because I thought that, you know, that award was never going to come to me because of all these challenges and everything like that. There's a timeline. You're looking at somebody else and thinking they've moved really far ahead. And this is for anybody who needs to hear this. Set your own criteria. Who gave somebody else the permission to tell you when you should be who you want to be or get to the next thing? And that really struck me when I sort of came off stage. And I mean, I think a year down the line, maybe I'm only just about figuring out that I'm Young Woman Engineer of the Year. But it is possible. If I, with all my failures and downfalls, can be Young Woman Engineer of the Year, everybody can be somebody amazing and take on whatever challenge they want to and make it happen. And the second thing is that direction. For everybody else, the young people, or anyone who needs to hear it, having that focus for me is what helped me through my year, because it also helped me sift through what I said yes to and what I said no to. You know, for you finalists, this is going to maybe be really important for you because the calls are going to come. Everyone's going to be wanting a piece of you. They want to hear how amazing you are. They want to hear your journey. They want to hear how to get to where you are. But you have to remember, not everything is a yes. But also what's important to you. What do you want to give out to them? And that direction might help you through your year. I've been really, really honored and amazed by the fact that the little that I've managed to do this year has resulted in further awards, which I've found has been an inspiration to others. Top 21 in Cambridge, top 23 women, influential women in startup world. It's been overwhelming, but also very validating that we are doing something great in the world of engineering. And then as much as you push for that, you can make a difference. You can actually influence somebody else's journey. And that has been one of the things that I'm taking forward. The last few pictures are the fact that I have done all of that having the best time of my life. You know, surrounded by some of the finalists. But, you know, this was when we came for the alumni event. I've met other past winners. Sophie's probably somewhere in the crowd. We had the best time hosting the awards. And it's that family, and you'll always have that support. That is what the IET does for us. And it is something that I will hold very dearly as I get some rest over the next couple of months. I will come back. I will be back. This is something that has enriched my life, my family's life. It's giving me new purpose. I've always liked to do this, but the impact that I've seen over the last year alone gives me the drive and the zeal to keep doing. So I think it must have been Ella who did a promise at the end of her speech. She said that she was promising to continue to do this, and I'm with her. I mean, I think this is why some of us continue to do the work. Sophie, it's been many, many years, and we still see you every year. You know, it is something that we love to do. We like to give back to the next generation. Some of us, I didn't have anybody who was an engineer or talked about engineering. My mum's a nurse, my dad's an accountant, my husband's a business consultant, but I hadn't met him yet when I was 16, it's fine. But you know, some people just don't have people around them to tell them about engineering or technology and how amazing that is. And that's where people like us come in. So as you go into your year, making waves in STEM, I wish you all the best. I think you're going to have the most fabulous year. Savor it, save some for yourself, and give the rest out to those people because they can't wait to hear about you. I know about you guys from what we've spoken about and met with you, and you are incredible, and I cannot wait for others to get to know you even more. So thank you all so much for the stage, and thank you, Anne-Marie.
Go have a rest. Just told Amma, go have a rest. What a piece of history there, right? That we all got to witness live. I love that, though, that it was a lot of advice to them. I think all of us felt like we were listening in, right, on a private conversation. But no, I think is definitely a good one. Everyone say no. Okay. Thanks for that. You know, it's good to practice saying no, actually, sometimes. And no, you can't pour from an empty cup, which I think is really important. Be that role model, but role model for yourself first, right? Very, very important. So what an incredible year as well. I think you deserve the break. Yeah. So an exceptional winner who is continuing to contribute so much to the profession throughout her year as YWE and also in the years to come. I'm sure she'll be stood next to Sophie as well next year, maybe with someone extra that she's brought along for us. So it's time to meet our remaining two finalists, Zainab Adigan and Laura Huang. We're going to start with Zainab's VT and then hear from Laura.
I remember as a child, when I was younger, looking at the buildings all around me, thinking, how have these buildings been there for so long and they're able to stand up? It became really clear, if I wanted to find my answer about how buildings stand up, I would have to study structural engineering. So I said to my mum, I want to study engineering, and she goes, why would you want to do that? It's for men. That made me feel very uncomfortable. That really, really made me want to change that narrative. So now, as a structural engineer, I'm designing buildings, looking at how we can make them most efficiently in terms of the space we have, looking at the most efficient material we can use, and even looking at structural solutions where you're bringing a building together almost like a jigsaw puzzle, which is something I'm really, really interested in, which is modern methods of construction. Growing up, I didn't have any role models, and I'm a believer that you cannot be what you cannot see. So this is why it's very important for me to go out and go back to do this outreach activities to make sure that every girl knows that they can be absolutely anything they want, and most especially do anything in engineering. Every outreach activity I do, I start off by asking, do I look like a structural engineer? And the answer is always no. But when I do tell them what I do, you can see the spark in their eyes, and almost like they're in awe to know that, wow, she's a lady and she's an engineer. Now I'm living the dream of young Zainab. Curiosity didn't kill the cat, it made it stronger.
My name is Laura Huang. My Cantonese name is Huang Chai Han, and my Vietnamese name is Huang Thuy Nhan, and I am a chartered engineer. Throughout my journey, I've had some challenges. I did suffer from anxiety, I still do. When I was at school, I was taught to be more confident in myself, and I couldn't do that because I was such a shy child. My biggest fear is being on stage, being on camera.
So here you are with 4 cameras.
I know, it's terrifying. When you're naturally shy, it can be quite draining sometimes. It takes a lot of courage to just get yourself over that barrier. It was little steps at a time to be able to overcome that. I was invited to an audience with the CEO of BAE Systems at the time when I was a graduate. But I was so shy around that table, I didn't get to ask my question. And then afterwards, I was kicking myself. In fact, so I wrote him an email. He took the time to respond to me and then follow up with a phone call. So here I am today, a systems engineer with a focus in human factors engineering. So fascinating because you learn a lot about human nature, and human error is a massive risk. We look at that and try and put measures in place to mitigate and reduce the likelihood of human error. For me as an engineer, I care about people and I care about the environment. It took just one person who listened to me and made me feel heard, and I want to be that person for others.
We've heard from all of them now. What a formidable set of finalists. A big round of applause, I think, for all of them again. You are all justifiable winners, so you're all my winners as well this evening. Now, before we announce the next 2 award winners, I'd like to take some time for us to thank our judging panel, who, as you've seen now, have had an incredibly difficult time actually shortlisting this year's candidates and ultimately choosing the award winners tonight. Every year, the standard of applications is so impressive and they have such a tough task on their hands. So a big round of applause as well for our judges this evening. Now, I said we'd had 4 awards this evening. So those of you that have been keeping track, we've already had 2. Good. Some mathematicians in the room too. So the third award of the evening is the Women's Engineering Society Prize, or the WES Prize, as some of you may know it, and it is donated by the Women's Engineering Society, who have a very long-standing and close working relationship with the IET. Now, this prize is awarded to an outstanding young woman engineer who's engaging and inspiring young people's involvement in the STEM subjects. So drum roll, please. I'm delighted to announce that the 2023 WES Prize goes to Zainab Adigun.
Thank you, God. Thank you to all my supporters, my family. Yeah, I am going to cry. Thank you to Pearl Fishman, especially Andy, Murray, and Jonathan Childs for supporting me along this journey. And yeah, I'm just going to keep going. I think outreach makes me so happy, and engineering itself makes me so happy. So I'm just going to carry that flag and keep going. So thank you very much, guys.
Congratulations, Zainab. That is what a structural engineer looks like. Look at that, Paps. Look at that. Love it, love it, love it. So we finally come to the main award, our fourth award of the night, the one you've all been waiting for. This is the IET's Young Woman Engineer of the Year Award. As a reminder, yeah, a whoop whoop. Why not a whoop whoop for that? As a reminder, this award is given to an exceptional woman, a pioneer, a leader, and an inspiration to all. So let's find out who it is. Drum roll as I grab the final golden envelope. And a little bit longer for dramatic effects. The 2023 Young Woman Engineer of the... Oh, no, I'll do it again. Drum roll, please. I'm so excited. The 2023 Young Woman Engineer of the Year Award goes to Titi Olide.
Wow. No, I'm just grateful to God, and I'm also grateful to everyone that's been on my journey. I'm grateful to my CEO here and my CPO as well, because they've been with me on this journey as well. And all the people, like I said, I've been fortunate to have many people help me on this journey, but it has had its ups and downs, but yeah, the support of like my sisters who are here, my friends as well, everyone, my colleagues, everyone has been really good. So that is also what I want to do, just be that shining light to, like somebody can look at me and say, okay, if she's done it, then I can do it too. So yeah, thank you so much, IET. Thank you.
It's just started, Titi. That paparazzi is just the beginning. I can hear your phone ringing already. I think it's the BBC. 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Keep that in mind, right? Emma's told you. So that just about brings this year's ceremony to a close, but the party certainly doesn't stop here. For those of you online, go ahead, continue to party on at home. We give you permission. You will not need to be up at 6 a.m. Tomorrow morning. Thank you very much for tuning in. And for those of you here in London with us tonight, we'd love to invite you to join us upstairs in the Riverside and Maxwell Library for some delicious seasonal food. What I've been told is probably the world's fastest candy floss machine, STEM-inspired drinks, and an opportunity to meet with our dedicated sponsors, some of whom have brought popcorn along as well. So VR, anyone like VR? It's a little bit, I managed to tempt everybody. I'm going to see you all upstairs, yeah, for a bit of a boogie. I can't close without thanking our sponsors, without who events, campaigns, outreach, and all the work that you've seen today simply couldn't happen. Their hard work and support for this cause inspires all of us to be able to put on a great event for you each year. So a big, big thank you to our sponsors too. So for those of you who are here in the room with us tonight, please make your way upstairs for the rest of the evening. My name's been Anne-Marie Maffedon. I'm CEO of Stemet, and I'm so excited about the legacy that we have of all the stories, all the women, all the engineers that we've heard from this evening. A big, big congratulations to all of our winners and all of our finalists. You are incredible. You're fantastic. You are historical, you're historical, right? You are legends. I know that you're going to continue to inspire people like you've inspired all of us here tonight and me myself. So a big, big thank you, everyone. Please enjoy the rest of your evenings.